Hi, and welcome to this demo video for the Figma widget, SchemaFlow. SchemaFlow is a widget used for modeling schema implementation. So, the first step in using schema is of course to define which schema types to use on which websites for implementation, steps, and strategy. Please look at the link in the description or in the article where you found the link to this video. The first step is to find a widget. We type in schema. Here we have the SchemaFlow widget. We click on it, and it opens a container to start creating your model. We have decided for this demo video to use the organization type schema. So here is a list of properties, or attributes, that are commonly used for the organization type. So obviously we have to declare a type. We can use a legal name, or a name, if you are just using a short name. And then you can declare your brand, or brands. Then the URL of your website, the logo, and then some images as well. For this example, we have a storefront. Some other properties are a slogan, a description, founding date, a founder, or founders. Keywords, address for the physical location, then the telephone number, same as, and events. Same as is a property used to declare social media accounts like Twitter, LinkedIn, and so on. If your organization organizes events, you can also declare upcoming events. None of these attributes are obligatory. You can choose which attributes we want to indicate or not. So having a look at how this works in a script, we have here the type organization, the name, legal name, the URL, the logo, and an image. For images, we always have to declare 3 images for Google, with 3 different aspect ratios of the same image. Then we have a description and address. And address is also a type. So under this type we can then declare several other properties like the street, the town, region, postal code, and country. There's no obligation to show all of those. You can choose which to use. I can remove the country, or the zip code if I want, or I can only show the address and city, for example. Founding date and founders. Founders can be multiple or only one entry. Then we can indicate the contact information. There are 2 ways of doing this. Either we can declare the telephone and the email as attributes under the organization type. Or I can create a subtype contact point, and then under contact point, declare the phone and the email. When would I use contact points? Especially if you have multiple contact points. For example, here I have indicated customer service. If you also have a sales and a technical support department, you can declare several contact points. If you're only using one, you don't have to use this. You can declare email and phone directly under the organization type. I'm using your contact point just to show how you can do that. Then same as our URLs, you can declare all the URLs of your social media accounts. So let's go to SchemaFlow and see how we're going to do that. So the first thing we're going to do is add a property, or declare your type. And the easy thing about SchemaFlow is that you don't have to know all the schema types and schema attributes, which are hundreds. So we are going to indicate the organization. SchemaFlow is going to show all the values that are possible, so you can just select it without knowing by heart all the possibilities. So here we have name. We have the legal name, and the name. Now to keep adding properties, I can just remove the search. Add URL, and it shows me URL based on this search. Now the name, and the legal name, they are not removed. The widget is going to remember what are all the selections that you have already made. And when you click the Add Properties button, it will list all those properties within that container. Let's have a look. We had the name, legal name, URL, logo, and the image. So now we go for logo. Then we go for image. We also have a founding date and a founders. Let's see what else. Description and an address. I'm going to use only one. I can add multiple if I want. And then we're going to click Add Properties. Now within the container they show all the properties that I've selected. Now here's a title that I can enter. And how you want to organize this is really up to you. What you feel most comfortable with, you can just declare here the name of the schema. For example, organization schema. What I tend to use when using the widget is to indicate where I use it. So organization page, I'm going to use it on the home page. For example, a web page schema, which is something that I can use on all pages. I'll indicate here all pages, and then web page schema. So that way you can organize the schemas for your entire website, and create a model for your entire website. Now apart from that, for each of those properties I also have to indicate what kind of entries you can have. So here in same as URL, there's only one option in contact point. I can add text or contact point, and contact point is a type as well. So that will create a new container here for the type, under which again I'm going to have to declare a list of properties. I'll do that in a second. I'm first going to go through this list here. So here we have the same principle. I have a string where I can just add information. Or I can declare this as a postal address, which is a type. And again it is going to open a container where I can declare other properties. Here we are at the description. Here we're going to add a string. Founding date is a date. Then in founders I have an option of text or a person. Again, a person is a type. It's going to create another container. Then we have the image, which can be an image object or a URL. We're going to keep it simple and use only URLs to declare my images. Same for the logo. The URL is going to be the main URL of the organization. So your root name is going to be a string and legal name also. Okay, one important principle about schema is you do not have to choose. The rule with schema is the more the better. Even if there's a redundancy of information, it's never going to hurt. The worst part you can do in schema is providing less information than your competitors. So in the same page, don't worry about using a web page schema, an organization schema, an article schema, a breadcrumb schema, and so on. There might be redundant information, but it's not going to hurt or cause any harm. In terms of SEO, Google is just going to take whatever information it wants, and it finds useful, and decide how to display that. So in contact points, there are several options. Here I can have multiple points or one point. Here I'm going to use one contact point. So we're going to add only information about one department. For example, customer service. So we're going to add a telephone for that, and an email. And we're going to add also the contact type. And again, for each of these properties we have to indicate what it is, or what type it is. Here we have those containers that are blocking in a string. Good, we're done with the contact point. Now we're going to go to the address. So we have country, locality, region, and street address. And then we add postal. There we go. Postal code, or a zip code in the United States. Once again we're going to declare this. That's a string. Here's an address. Again a string. Region, string. Locality is also a string. And then in country, we can do two things. Either we can declare that as a string, or as a country. I'm going to do it as a string. Then we have the founders, and we're going to use the name. We can split that up to family name, and give a name. I'm just going to use one field name. And then the URL, for example, could be if you have a profile page on your website, or if you want to link it to a LinkedIn page, it doesn't matter. So this is a choice we made. We can also add other attributes or properties like an image of the founder and so on. So this is my model. And I can now add these models for all the schemas that I want to implement. I can add the website, article, person, schema, or anything that is relevant to your website. Now, what is the big advantage of doing this? It is that you're going to create a model, a visual model that can be shared across departments, between marketing, and between developers. Developers can map this against your content model in a CMS and decide, okay, we have an article, a headline in our content, and an article body. We also have those properties within schema. So we're going to map those and create that field only once in our CMS. Rather than duplicate, or even triplicate, create fields that are going to have the same information. So having this visual model is very useful for the developers as well as your content marketers. So that's the end of our demonstration. We hope you liked it. Try SchemaFlow, the free Figma plugin. And check out the other tools available at schematica.io.